Hey everyone, I am Thorstein from Cinema Terror, and the movie of the day is a South Korean chiller from 2003 called Into the Mirror. In Into the Mirror, we meet Woo Young-min, an ex-cop who had to leave the force after doing a mistake during a hostage situation that left one of his partners dead. He is now working as a security guard at his uncle's large department store, and he is having his hands full, as it is about to reopen after being closed for several years due to a tragic big fire. Before it gets reopened though, a bunch of strange suicides start to take place at the store. Woo has to figure out what is going on, and he is led to a dark path into the supernatural, as he starts to believe that there are other forces at play here, and he must figure it all out before even more people end up dead. Into the Mirror starts off as a creepy horror film, before it starts to turn into a mystery, where we spend more time with people investigating what is going on, than spending time being scared by horrors being displayed on the screen. The horror element work very well at the start. They take full advantage of the enigma and eeriness of mirrors, as I'm sure every one of us has stared a bit extra at a mirror at one point in your life, and started to imagine what if there is something more behind it than just a reflection. They filmed these scenes in a smart and simple way, and they turned out to be very effective, giving me chills down my spine several times during the first part of it. I just wish they had gone all the way horror in this film, as I felt these parts of the film was the strongest, and the rest of it, not that much. Not that the rest of the film is bad, not at all, but the investigation scenes went on for too long, and all the suspense I felt during the setup was gone by the time the final big confrontation happened. I felt the story ended up being a bit lackluster, and the finale was a letdown, as the movie hadn't succeeded in getting me emotionally invested. I honestly wanted more horror, and was more interested in the supernatural than the characters and the story that they had to offer. The movie also runs for nearly 2 hours, and even if I enjoyed the slower pacing that are common in Asian movies, this one felt like it dragged at parts. Even if I didn't get all that invested in the characters, I did think that the actors involved all did a commendable job on their parts. There is no denying their talent, and it can be easily backed up by seeing their other work. The main guy, Woo, is played by Yi Tai-yu, who fans of Asian cinema of course will recognize from Chan-wook Park's masterpiece Oldboy. The rest of the cast is filled with either experienced performers, or performers that will go on to pretty much all stay active even today over 15 years later. You can look into the meaning of Into the Mirror if you want, and the duality of having a good and bad side, and how that can be worked into the mirror concept. Since I never got grabbed by the film, I didn't get all that invested at looking at its deeper parts, but I do mention that it has it, as if the movie works better for you, then I wouldn't be surprised if it makes you think about things once the film is done. I was a bit surprised to see that this was the first film directed by Song Ho Kim, who also wrote the screenplay. The directing felt like it came from an experienced filmmaker, while like I already mentioned, the screenplay might have been a bit too long for my liking. Kim has kept on working on films after this one, but I can't say I'm familiar with any of them. His latest effort was a 2015 horror film, interestingly called The Mirror. As with so many other Asian genre films of the early 2000s, this would also eventually get the American remake treatment in 2008 with Alejandro Aja's Mirrors. It's not a direct remake, as Aya wanted to change things up in his version. I did see it shortly after its release, and I think I enjoyed it, although I don't remember a single scene from it today. Perhaps it's time for a revisit. Let me know if you want me to do a review of that one. Into the Mirror is a well-made film that sadly didn't have a great payoff in the end. Fans of Asian cinema will find enough in it to make it worth their while, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets others more engaged than what it did to me. Don't go into it expecting a full-on scary horror film though, as that's not what it is or what it's trying to do. Into the Mirror is an overall solid film that didn't quite click with me, and as such I feel it deserves the respectable score of 3 out of 5. Have you seen Into the Mirror? If so, what are your thoughts on it? And how about recommending me and others about some Asian films from this time period that you didn't feel get the recognition it deserved? I'm always up for checking out some unknown Asian horror films. As always, I gotta say thank you for watching my videos here on YouTube. I'm off to work on a new one, so again, thank you for watching Cinema Terror.